Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Nuding. In this episode, I will be sharing how I created this kind of abstract looking kind of form. This is basically just the default cube. If I go to edit mode, you can see it's the default cube. And what I did here, I'm using Blender 3.0 with the latest geometry nodes branch. All I did was to use the noise texture. Okay. So what noise texture node is still pretty new. It doesn't have other kind of noise like cell. But here I'm passing the position of the default cube or whatever positions this mesh have. And then I'm using this add, and this is changing the noise. And this noise is used to translate the geometry. Okay, but before that I have this mesh, subdivide, etc. being applied. Triangulations and subdivisions. So maybe this should be less. This one can be more. So I can subdivide more or less. And the underneath shape is, of course, before I subdivide it, yeah, it's just like a bunch of blocks. And maybe this is what you want. And here I'm actually using subdivision, solidify modifier. So this is the original shape. So not too fancy like this, but the process is interesting, I think. So we can, okay, of course I'm using mirror. Without the mirror, it's probably a little bit incomplete. So mirror is very handy in this case. Translations, I can use rotations. This is also kind of nice. And you can play around with the scale. Just gonna leave it to 0. So this is the default cube. And oh yeah, edge split. Edge split is also handy. Let me subdivide once again. Go back to geometry nodes. The edge angle that's cutting the shapes based on the angle. And of course I'm using smooth. The smooth also one of the factor to create this abstract looking shape. And this can be anything, like maybe like some kind of alien spaceship, or could be like sculptural significant, like a totem. I don't know, could be anything. But yeah, so there's nothing much here. But I think the process is very interesting. And on top of this, you can always scatter more objects, or even if you want, maybe before all this smooth, solidify, yeah, this shape is actually kind of interesting and nice. This is without the solidify. Get rid of the mirror, get rid of subdivisions, and we just end up with this. You could perhaps use like mesh to curve, turning this mesh into just curve, and then use curve to mesh, circle, curve, plug into profile, and you have like some kind of wireframe creations. And let's reduce the resolutions. Yeah, it's become like a cage. So there are two different things that you can do here. And you can always remesh this. Let's see, I think mirror or just remesh first. So there's a lot of random abstract shapes that you can create. You can use adaptive, and then you can mirror, turn on bisect. You can play around with flip, and all the way back to geometry nodes, we can always pass this vector multiply, vector addition, pass it outside, so you can have multiple of this object. I mean, it's not very particularly interesting. Maybe the rotation is also rotations can be pipe out, so we have different more variations of the shapes. The noise itself, the scale can still be adjusted. You can see it, everything changes. Roughness, distortion doesn't work yet. I have a feeling that, okay, this is translation vector. Maybe we can multiply this. Yeah, no. Scale. It's very alien looking objects. Yeah, I think I end up quite like this. If you want to do further or less, it's up to you. This maybe the split angle can be changed. Oh, okay, because remesh is doing something. So this is a different setup. Remember what we have before. Yep, just this shape. And if we put smoothing without the remesh, we get our other shape. So this is basically what it is. I think it could be, it has potential, you know, it's not finished here. It could be like some kind of armor design for spaceship. See, it's very modern looking. Let's see. Yeah, I'm cutting based on the angle. Now we have these shapes. Can play around with the thickness. I'm I'm holding options while changing the attribute, so I can control all of this at the same time. Yeah, probably useful for concept art. You don't need to stop here really. If this is like too rounded, let's say I'm applying all of this, go to sculpt mode, filter, mesh filter, and there's this sharpen. Can sharpen the design, or I just like to use cloth and inflate. Yeah, maybe you don't want to do that, but anyway, just a quick ideas. Random color, cavity, matte cap. Okay, so that's another unusual abstract shapes you can create using just the basic of geometry nodes. Hopefully you find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.